online, but I don't really know Nate. But Nate, tell people what you do and your situation.
We own a collectibles store in Middle Tennessee, and we were the first person in our industry to do a NIL deal with a college football player, which was Will Levis. And since then, we've done, 6, 7, 8 NIL deals, all with Kentucky football players.
Okay, and if I'm correct, you tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, you give them pretty big sums of money, or am I wrong about that?
Will's was a 6-figure deal. The other football players are typically 5 or low 5-figure deals. There are some $5,000 deals. It's not a lot in that type of deal. There's not a lot required in those smaller deals. With the larger deals, obviously, there's more required.
So you had wanted to say something, and I about what's gone on, and I feel free to go ahead.
Yeah, I last year after Oscar declared, Lance left. I think it was down to just Antonio was the last one on our roster. As far as seniors, and he had scrubbed his Twitter of Kentucky the way I remember it anyway. So I wanted to get a 6-figure offer for an NIL deal. A simple NIL deal. It was going to be 5,000 signatures for $100,000. Antonio would make $20 an autograph, sign them whenever he wanted, and hopefully that would help. And what I learned throughout the process was basketball is entirely different than football. I had a couple NIL agents that I reached out to explain that, hey, everything has to go through Cal. And I'm thinking, what? So anyway, to make a long story short, I did finally get in touch with an assistant. I made the offer. He tells me, this sounds like something Cal would go for, makes sense. It's a true name, image, likeness agreement. We'll let you know. And, of course, we never hear back from him. No phone call, no text, no nothing back. A few days later, Antonio comes back, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Didn't think anything else about it. Just thought Antonio didn't want to do it. Fast forward 6, 7 months. It's actually during the season this year. I get a call from one of those NIL agents and asks me, he says, hey, I have Antonio and his father sitting in my office looking for small NIL deals. Do you have anything? And it just made my blood boil. I'm thinking, everybody's got to stop for a second and just think back to when you were in college, not – if
so
you're making millions of dollars.
Are you saying you don't think Antonio was ever told about the deal? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that his father and he relayed to the NIL agent. According to the NIL agent, the offer was never presented to them. They obviously would have done it if they want a $5,000 or $10,000 deal now. Now, again, that's the NIL agent telling me that. I never get a phone call back. Well, then fast forward this year. Don't want to go into too much detail because it's not really fair, because the time hasn't really come for them to be reaching that back out. But there's a 7-figure offer for a player from our business. We've got no response. We have no idea if this person's even been, or his family has been relayed the $1 million offer. So again, it's just.
So are you saying? I mean, Are you saying you have offered a current UK player $1 million?
That's correct. I've offered, and I've got the receipts. I've got texts if you want to see them from to the assistant.
Yeah, that's okay. All right.
It's one of those.
No, I understand. Well, listen. I guess what your complaint, just so I understand, is your complaint that you don't think when it comes to the NIL stuff that it's being communicated correctly?
Correct. I think at the very least, Cal has some people under him that aren't doing their job anywhere near the gold standard. And I mean, we could point out 20 different things, but this is just something that are actually, the facts from my point of view, trying to sign deals with these players that are pretty easy obligations. And somewhere along the way, the player's not even getting the message. And so with that said, I had that to offer because that's my one piece of, man, this is not being run right.
Gotcha.
The football program, run great.
All right, I appreciate the call, Nate. Thank you very much.
Man.
What do you think of that shit?
$1 million offer? I'm available. What do you want me to do? My God. Can you imagine, though? I mean, really, if you're the player and that's not even being relayed to you, how furious would that make you? I know it would make me crazy.
If that's assuming that what he says is true, that would make me pretty furious. I mean,
remember, we were lucky to have Antonio Reeves and Trey Mitchell on this team.
I don't think we're speaking out of school saying this, but there was definitely a complaint, wouldn't you agree, last year from a lot of the basketball players, not this year that just finished, the year before. I think there was definitely people who thought they were getting money that never came. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
I think that was a part of the discontent last year, to be quite frank with you. Not this season that just finished, but the year before, that guys were told one thing and then it didn't happen.
Last year we were in a hotel coming back from Greensboro after the loss, and I said we have to stop saying the gold standard if none of the things we're doing are a gold standard. One of that was NIL. Part of it was not even being a participating team after the first wing of the NCAA tournament. I mean, not to just nitpick. Remember that blue shovel we gave the number one recruit? Well, I mean, what are we doing? That was a kid's toy that we handed a 5-star recruit. Like, here, we're building for the future. What was that shovel? Just add that to the list of.
I mean, it would be hard to shovel with that shovel, Shannon.
Yeah.